Hello and welcome to episode 166 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three continents share in one love, and that is video games. On today's show, Nintendo raises its prices, EA has more Disney games in the works, and we are going to build our dream Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls rosters. But before all that, let's introduce our illustrious panel of hosts. My name is Kleinfeld, and alongside me today are two of my best friends in the whole wide gaming world. First, coming to us from across the pond, it is the digital art daredevil himself, Tom Drew. Tom, how's it going? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a big gaming week this week. I've been to arcade bars to play different games like DDR and Guitar Hero. I've had people over playing Mario Kart and Mario Party. There's definitely been a couple of bad words being thrown around at each other during those games as well because of some antics. Let's just say. But I'm good. Yeah, I'm glad we're here talking about video games. It's gonna be fun.
Excellent. Next up, it is journalist extraordinaire, the Australian abroad, fresh off a late night to see one Lady Gaga, Lauren Rouse. Lauren, how are you? How are the little monsters doing?
Yes, it's been absolute mayhem over the last, I don't know, 12 hours, 24 hours. Time has no meaning. My brain is still in Seattle in that concert arena watching the Queen herself, the Mother of Monsters. It was amazing. And I don't think I'll fully recover.
No, you have left a little bit of yourself in that arena down in Seattle. Luckily, we announced this week we will be back in Seattle, so you can pick it up on our way down there. Controller Club is headed to our first convention as a podcast. We are headed to PAX West coming up in a couple of weeks here. We're going to go down to Seattle. We're going to play some games, and then we'll reconvene. We'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure. Plenty of stories, plenty of fun, and plenty of games played. So we'll do that towards the end of the month. But we got a show to do here today. So let's get into it. Tom Drew, give us that news jingle. Let's get into the headlines.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
We start with my story of the week. It seems to be something we keep coming back to. More prices going up. Nintendo is raising its prices this time around. This comes from Emma Roth at The Verge. The original Nintendo Switch, which has cost $299.99 in the US since its release in 2017, has been raised in price to $339.99 on Nintendo's online store. Other first-gen Switch models are now more expensive as well, with the Switch OLED going from $349.99 to $399.99, and the Switch Lite increasing from $199.99 to $229.99. Nintendo said on Friday that its decision to raise the price was, quote, based on market conditions, end quote, after implementing a similar new set of prices in Canada on August 1st. The U.S. announcement came just one day after President Donald Trump signed an executive order that will impose new reciprocal tariffs on a range of countries. Trump's growing list of tariffs now includes a 20% levy on products imported from Vietnam, where Nintendo has transferred most of its production. Nintendo also issued $10 price increases for the Alarmo and Switch One Joy-Cons, which now cost $109.99 and $89.99 respectively. Prices aren't changing for the Switch 2 console, though, as well as Switch and Switch 2 games, whether physical or digital. Guys, we are living in a world where things are getting more expensive. Prices are going up rather than going down on consoles. I want to know, what do we think about this? And I want to ask specifically Lauren, as somebody who doesn't have a Switch 2 yet, does this worry you as somebody who would eventually want to buy a Switch 2? Because Switch 2 prices not going up, but there is a very real possibility that at some point they could. So Lauren, we'll throw to you first. What do you think about all this? And does this scare you as a prospective Switch 2 customer?
I think this is just a product of the times, and we saw it happen with PlayStation and Xbox, and you're right, it is just a case of we live in a world where prices are only going up even years after these original consoles came out. It's crazy that they'd be increasing it now when there's a whole new generation that's out. Switch, the original Switch, if anything, should be getting phased out, not being priced up, which is very odd. But I obviously know why, because of these tariffs and the global economy and those sorts of things. In terms of the Switch 2, I don't really feel any pressure of being it's going to go up in price if I don't buy it right now. I think they set their price within these conditions, like these tariffs, they already knew what the impact of these tariffs were likely, unless they, of course, change, which they could. I feel like this is probably where it's going to stay, at least for a little while. Like Nintendo obviously has this rollout of the Switch 2. They want it to be successful. To kind of like have it be out for a couple of months and then raise the price again seems like an odd move, although it's Nintendo, anything can happen. So yeah, I don't really feel any added pressure to buy one. I'll buy one like when the time is right for me, and that's like regardless of the price.
Okay, awesome. Tom, what do you think about these new price changes now? I guess more than 7 years into the Switch One's life cycle?
Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it sucks having to pay more for these things, especially when, like you said, this thing is so old at this point. Um, I do wonder if obviously the tariffs are a massive factor in this, and I think a lot of the reasoning is like wanting to offset the tariffs' impact on Nintendo and making sure that that potential impact that it would have on the Switch 2, they can try offset that by pricing these things a bit more. But I also wonder if it has the kind of additional, I guess, quote unquote benefit for Nintendo in that like you look at the Switch OLED, it's now going to be priced at $400. That's only $50 less than a Switch 2 at this point. So now a consumer looks at the Switch OLED, Switch 2, which one are you going to buy? You're going to buy the one that is arguably much better than like an OLED, only for like another extra $50. Or if you get the bundle, I guess it's an extra $100 for Mario Kart as well. But yeah, I think that also plays a part here in terms of like a consumer point of view, seeing what the quote unquote best deal is. But yeah, I do worry that that this growing trend of stuff just never coming down. I would fully expect even some of the other consoles, like they've already had price increases. Maybe those prices continue to creep up and up and up, which sucks for people who have been waiting to jump in. And I guess the early adopters lucked out. Like us, we got in, I guess, early, and it's fine. But for like PlayStation, for example. But I don't like it. I don't like that we have to keep paying more for these things. I think it's just not great. It's just not a great feeling.
And it starts to become a little bit worrying as we look to the future a little bit in the next couple of years. I mean, this US administration, which is the reason for these price increases, not just in the US, but everywhere, they are trying to offset raising prices significantly in America by raising prices elsewhere in the world as well. Plus, you have the global economy happening. It's not going anywhere, and we are heading towards the next console generation. The Switch 2 there was sticker shock there for sure. It was a lot more expensive than I think some people wanted it to be. What do we think that this means as we head towards a potential PS6 and a new Xbox? Do these new consoles then become more of a luxury item? Like, do we maybe see a generation where a lot of people stay behind for quite a while until it makes sense for them to jump over?
I think probably. I think just I mean, I know for me it's going to take a massive either killer feature or massive jump for me to consider getting a PS6 at launch, just because I feel like I get enough benefit out of a PS5 at the moment, and I feel like even then, well, you're seeing with the Switch 2, and that's partially because a lot of developers didn't have the dev kits in time, but there's not that much to play. There's some good quality there, but if you wait a year or two down the line after these consoles come out, you'll have that a bigger library. Maybe then the initial launch price will be inflated by the time you actually get around to buying a PS6, for example. But I just feel like in this kind of gaming landscape, a lot of people are going to be a lot more careful with how they're spending their money on these consoles, and the response from these corporations is they're just going to charge the people who are paying for the actual consoles more, so that they can offset the revenue that they're losing by not having everyone kind of jump over to them. Which, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how consoles even survive at this point. I don't know how sustainable that is to keep increasing. But I guess we'll see. The Switch 2 sold amazingly, so maybe it's just maybe people will just still bite the bullet and do it.
Well, they're just becoming like gaming PCs at this point, right? Like those used to be the really expensive and still are. Like to buy a good graphics card and things like that, it is very expensive and you have to upkeep it. And not everyone is into like that's why I use consoles is because I'm not into the upkeep of like a gaming PC. Um, but of course, that has the added benefit of being like, well, you can use it for other things. You can work on it. You can like watch movies. You can do whatever you want really on a PC because it's also like a computer. So yeah, I haven't like fully formed this thought, but I do think it's interesting that like we have been talking recently about like the death of console exclusivity. I wonder if there will just become a point where it's like you pick your hardware of choice, whether that's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and then you can play whatever you want on it. And it's really just like the same. It's just like a mechanism for playing games. And the real benefit for each of these companies comes from the software. So, like, okay, PlayStation selling Helldivers on Xbox means that they still get revenue from that, despite it being on Xbox. Like the platform doesn't matter anymore. So I don't really like know 100% how that's going to play out, but I wonder if that will become the case.
It becomes almost like you're buying a TV or you're buying a new phone or something. It's
Mm.
just like, oh, like
Mm.
you have Nintendo over here, which is maybe the software is going to be it's quirky, it's fun, it gives off this more toy-like energy. Then you'll have the Sony and the PlayStation and Xbox over here doing their kind of higher end sort of things, and everything is just everywhere. And then it does really become like a PC market. And it's just like, hey, then maybe do we start getting new pieces of hardware? We do away with the numbering, the PS6, PS7. Do we just get new pieces of hardware every 2 years? And it's like, oh, this is the 2025 PlayStation. And then
Mm.
in 2 years, we'll get the 2027 PlayStation and something like that.
Well, it's reaching
Yeah.
a point where it's like the difference in what each console can offer is kind of really only graphical power, and that can only really go as far as kind of like the human react perception. Like people are saying, there's 8K TVs, 12K TVs, whatever the next thing is. It's like, but the human eye can't even perceive that at that point. What is the point?
Yeah, I've heard some people say more and more actually in the last couple of years is like no game ever needs to look better than Batman Arkham Knight, right? And that was a PS4 game. Like we never video games never need to look better than that. That is the best looking thing we have. And so why are we pushing for more power? What is that going to ultimately give us? It can give us more interactivity, I guess. Based like you can have these
More
beautiful worlds that are now living, breathing, kind of like what we saw from that Witcher 4 demo
Mm.
sort of deal. But really, graphical power, it's the days of making the leap from even PS2 to PS3 or Nintendo 64 to GameCube. That's gone. Like we're never going to get another graphical leap like that because we're in this point of diminishing returns when it comes to graphical power at this point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's plenty of games out there that don't need that. Like I'm trying to think of an example, literally anything. But even something like Mario Kart, like its design is in its kind of simplicity. Like it doesn't need to look in 8K resolution. I guess one of the advantages of all this graphical or like the processing power is like shorter loading times,
Mm.
um, like yeah, more cohesive gameplay, that kind of stuff. But I think we will hit a ceiling with that.
Even loading times now, like the PS5's big thing was that stuff would load so fast, and I'm playing the Battlefield 6 beta with 123 other players loading into a match in this beautiful game. It's running at 60 frames per second with destructible environments. I haven't seen any technical hiccups. It's absolutely insane. And it loads in, I don't know, I'm into a game in max 10 seconds. Like it is so quick. So even that, it's like, does loading just disappear? Does it become like the cartridge days where it's just there is no loading at all? You hit the button and it immediately goes. But we are getting there are less and less things you can put on a box. We're getting closer to a point where it's like there's less and less selling features. It ultimately becomes a software experience. Where are your friends? What system do you want to use? It's like a Windows Mac thing. Like, what is your personal preference as opposed to what console is going to give you the best looking game, the best feeling game? It's those things are they're getting closer and closer by the day. Okay, that's it for this story. Tom, Drew, give us your news story and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so we're talking about how EA has some unannounced Disney games in the works, and this comes from Jennifer Mass at Variety. So, according to EA Entertainment President Laura Meal, EA's current slate tied to Disney and Marvel IP includes the upcoming Star Wars Jedi 3 game from developer Respawn, large-scale mobile title Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, MMO Star Wars The Old Republic, as well as an Iron Man game, and a few others that haven't been announced yet. For Meal, this is all about maintaining a, quote, really strong balance in our portfolio, end quote, while forging EA's future in, quote, massive online communities. Quote, as we're talking about The Sims and Apex and Battlefield and Skate, these are significant investments. There is significant time, energy, and focus to get these right and get these platforms right. We're doing new things with these massive online communities, so when we assess our resources, our priorities, our teams, I think we're striking the right balance of investing in these big online communities with EA's brands and IP, and while partnering with this incredibly rich, amazing IP for the action RPG category that is still really strong, and we're quite confident in our ability to execute in that space, Meal said. So I just thought this was like kind of interesting that there are a couple of Disney games in the ether still. I mean, it could turn out that they're just like it's similar to the Galaxy of Heroes thing. It's just like a mobile game or something. But I don't know. Maybe they are dipping into the Disney catalog, finding something that they can turn into video games. But I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. Do you think what do we think these games will end up being potentially? And what do we want these games to be? What's the like pie in the sky dream kind of Disney IP based game? Klein, I'll go to you first. What do you think?
What do I think these games will be? It's really hard to say. I think that when Black Panther was canceled, Jason Schreier said that that game was a part of a 3-game deal with Disney and EA. And so we know Iron Man's happening, and so that means there's a third mystery game somewhere hiding in the ether potentially. So I guess another Marvel game could be that. What I want it to be, and I guess what I think it could possibly be, especially with what has happened in the news over the last couple of months, Battlefront 3. I think that there are enough people that want it. I think that Battlefront 2 just in the last like week or so hit another peak player mark almost a decade after it came out. So I think that is pretty crazy. And so people are really, for some reason, have latched onto that game in the last couple of months and are calling for a third Battlefront game. And I think it's time. I think the Battlefront name, it has gotten enough goodwill around it again after the mishap that was the launch of Battlefront 2. You could do a Battlefront 3.
Yeah, I think definitely. I would love to see that. Especially because, like you said, I think it would be crazy for them not to capitalize on that success. They're basically just leaving money on the table by not giving fans a new kind of experience in that world. Yeah, I guess there's like a lot of dissatisfaction with like other aspects of Star Wars, so maybe that's why people are kind of latching on to these kind of games to experience like some certain other aspects of the franchise. So maybe that's why there is such a. I know people like Battlefront like that. I mean, it's a fun like concept for a game. So I'd love Battlefront 3. I mean, we've talked about it quite a lot on the show. I think it would if they can nail that. We always say it. The planet to space kind of transition. That would be really fun. But Lauren, do you have any thoughts about what this could be? What you want it to be? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Battlefront 3 was my number one prediction as well, particularly because, like we said, in the recent weeks with the Battlefield 6 launch, it does kind of feel like, oh, look at all the things we've advanced in this area. And Battlefield and Battlefront are very similar systems. I could easily see them doing basically a Battlefield 6, but making it Battlefront 3, taking what they've learned from that franchise and just implanting it in the Star Wars area. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of fan demand for it. I also like have sort of like heard off the record that like there was a lot of Star Wars influences at the Battlefield 6 launch. And I was like, I wonder why they were there and whether they have been tipped off about something or whether they're getting into the books for some sort of reason with EA right now. So I was like, that's very suspicious. And yeah, reading between the lines, I feel like it's something like that. Like they're preparing for some sort of announcement regarding that. I was shocked that there wasn't a teaser of Battlefront 3 off the back of Battlefield 6, but maybe that's still to come. Like we do have Gamescom in the next couple of weeks. I think they're having some kind of Battlefield 6 presence there, but I can't be sure. So yeah, I think that would be very cool. In terms of what I want, like I think when we talk about things like, obviously The Sims 5 is in development. I kind of really would love to see some kind of partnership where you can get some kind of Disney themed packs for The Sims. Like they have all these different, like obviously DLCs that are like university or pets and things like that. I'm like, it would be pretty cool if they could partner somehow and do some like licensed Disney stuff. Like, oh, you can implant like Disney themed artwork or objects or like Marvel wallpapers or like costumes and things like that. I think that would be really fun. That's obviously not like its own standalone thing, but like adding that in the next evolution of The Sims, I would love to see that.
Yeah, because have they done any like licensed stuff for The Sims, or is it just like their own bespoke kind of stuff?
I don't know if they have.
The only collaboration I can think of is, this is so stupid.
I think we
Is
thought of the same one.
is it that Carly Rae Jepsen did a collab?
Oh, I
and
was gonna
have
say the
music?
Katy Perry.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's both pop stars, so I think that's the only kind of thing that
I
they've
could have
done.
sworn there was Sims Star Wars stuff at some point.
Was there? Okay. Because that was the other thing. It was like be really cool to have like
Yeah.
lightsabers in the game, and there was.
There was Sims 4, Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu.
Oh, so
Okay,
it's like a
that's
It's a
cool.
downloadable content pack for
Right.
Sims 4 that included, I guess, Batuu, which is the planet from Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Disneyland one. Okay, well let's
Does
do
that
more
mean
of
that if that planet, like at Galaxy's Edge, takes place in canon, does that mean that that Sims experience takes place in canon?
Can anything in The Sims be canon? I mean,
If you want it to be, if
I
you
don't
want it to be, that'd be cool. I think like taking full advantage of that like IP. I mean, they're not making another Sims game. It seems like, so you might as well add in these kind of other things, right? So I think that'd be really cool, adding like different stuff.
adding to the ideas that would be cool if they were going to do something. What about like a Marvel themed Battlefront? I guess like the closest thing was Marvel's Avengers a few years ago with the Square Enix game, but that was like we all know that wasn't really what it should have been. But we're seeing a lot of success with Marvel Rivals, and like soon we're going to be talking about Marvel Tokon today. I think like a Battlefield style, like you're on the battlefield with your Avengers fighting Thanos in Endgame. Like that's so cool. The idea of like being able to take over those characters and go into matches like that. So just putting it out there.
It's possible. I mean, like I guess the closest yeah, like Rivals. They've done like collaborations with Fortnite, and you get like items, and it like, admittedly, it's very fun. Like, it's fun to like, have like Iron Man's repulsors or like Cap Shield and stuff. I think you can make it different enough from like a Rivals where like it's either a
Hmm.
team deathmatch or a different kind of gameplay style where a shooter with the Marvel kind of branding could work. I think
Yeah.
that'd be really
I'm
cool.
thinking like the heroes versus villains like concept that they had in the Battlefront games, like where you have kind of regular fighters, but then there's a few people who get to be like the main characters and they have the move sets, and
Mm,
that was always so much fun.
yeah, Heroes versus Villains is just like yeah. I want to see that. I definitely want to see that. And like you do have like some characters that like Punisher that have like the regular like shooting
Mm.
abilities, so it could definitely work.
You could just be like shield agents as the NPC, like the regular
Yeah,
characters.
that's true. Or like yeah, Shield versus Hydra or any other kind of
Mm.
organization. I think it'd be cool. Um, as for me, I think yeah, I think you guys have kind of covered like what these could potentially be. I think it probably is a Marvel Star Wars. As much as I'd love it to be like a kind of more out there IP. But the game that I really want and will never happen ever is one of my favorite shows is Gravity Falls, which I think I mentioned a lot. But I'd love kind of just a mystery game set in Gravity Falls, maybe playing as Dipper and Mabel, and you're like uh you don't even need to like follow the story of the game, but like I'd love to just go around in this like awesomey vibe while you're uncovering mysteries and encountering monsters and cryptids, and just like finding cool things around the town. I think it'd be really fun. There's no hope of a season 3, so this would be the closest thing to me getting something like that, but it will never happen, unfortunately. But no, I think that could be cool.
It was only 2 seasons, that show.
Only 2 seasons, yeah. And
Wow.
they're pretty good.
And people talk all
They-
about it though.
I know they're
That's
obsessed.
crazy. That's
So you
crazy.
think
Well,
EA would be the publisher for that?
Um,
doesn't
Maybe.
sound like a very EA game to me.
No, it doesn't. But I would take what I
Just
could
in
get.
general.
You
Yeah,
know,
from
but yeah,
from the same publisher as FIFA and
Yeah.
Battlefield
yeah,
comes Gravity
use the same
Falls, little indie game.
gameplay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, that's gonna do it for the news. Tom Drew, give us the outro.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
And we jump over to our Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls roster draft. We are going to build a dream roster today for the new Marvel fighting game coming from Arc System Works, the team behind Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear. Very excited to see it. The reason we're doing this is EVO was last weekend and they showed off some of the game. It was playable there. People played it. And I'm very excited. It's going to be a whole lot of fun when we do it. We're going to each be picking 3 heroes. We'll have discussions about potential moves, about what they could do, but ultimately it is just like, whose face do you want to see in this game fighting the rest of the heroes already on the roster. The heroes confirmed so far, there have been a few: Captain America, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Storm, Doctor Doom, and Ghost Rider. Before we get to actually drafting the teams here, I want to ask the two of you, how are we feeling about this game? I know, Lauren, a little out of your wheelhouse, fighting games. Just the idea of Marvel expanding its reach a little bit and maybe doing something a little bit different than it has before. What do you think about it jumping into the fighting game genre on its own this time, as opposed to doing something like Marvel vs. Capcom, or years ago they had arcade games and stuff like that? But this is something very different for the Marvel team.
I think it makes absolute sense. Like Marvel is like a license to print money at this point. And even if maybe like the MCU isn't as high as it used to be, like people still are very invested in this brand, and to put it in as many different places and formats as possible just seems like a great idea, and people are obviously very excited about this. I am excited about it. It's just so not something that I would normally play or probably spend money on. It's like something that I would play with like a friend, like one of you guys, like for 1 or 2 rounds. It's not something I'm going to go out and buy and like play for hours on end myself. But I think it's cool that people who love fighting games and who love Marvel can now like experience both these things together.
And I love how much of a dream pairing it is between Marvel and then this, like, Arc System Works makes what I would consider like the most beautiful fighting games, maybe video games at all. They look like cartoons come to life. The art style that they're showing off for this game looks incredible. Japanese voice acting, really unique Gundam inspired take on Iron Man, and like cool armor for Captain America. I think it's going to be a lot of fun leading in to the release of this game, because I'm almost as excited for the game as I am for the promotional tour, where whenever we have a state of play, whenever we have a Gamescom or anything, Game Awards, and that Marvel Tokon logo like hits the screen and we're going to get a character reveal, and it's going to feel just like Smash Brothers again, where who is it? Who could it possibly be? What name is going to pop up on screen, and what unique look will they be sporting when they do? Tom, are you as excited for like the trailer tour for Marvel Tokon as I am?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was actually watching some like Smash Ultimate reveal trailers like
Oh
late
yeah.
last night the other night, and I was just like
That
getting
King K.
hyped all
Rool
over again.
trailer is 10
Oh,
out of 10.
still hits. It's so good. So I can't even imagine like some of these characters when they reveal some of them. It's gonna be so exciting. When they debut them. Which is really excited to talk about obviously now. But yeah, I'm glad they're just like that Marvel's expanding their kind of portfolio of stuff and just keeping those characters in the public eye. I mean, we've seen it with Rivals and how that's kind of like boosted a lot of these characters. Even ones that people aren't as familiar with, like Magic and even the Fantastic Four before the movie came out. People were getting even more hyped for the movie just because the characters were in the game, which I really love. But yeah, I'm excited for this. Like, I have never really gone into this style of fighting game. I know it's kind of like similar to Marvel vs. Capcom, which was like great when that came back with the collection. But as soon as I heard about this announcement, I still haven't played it yet, but I instantly bought Guilty Gear Strive, which is one of Arc System Works other fighting games. So I'm really keen to give that a go before this comes out, so I can kind of get a bit used to how these tag team fighters kind of work. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be sick, and I love the art style, love the kind of world they're crafting around this. It's going to be great.
I've been checking the news feeds every single day because if they were at Evo, there's a real chance like that they could be at PAX.
Oh, can you imagine? That would actually be so sick if we get to play it at PAX. I would lose it.
I can imagine the lines will be long, but it'll be worth it just for
Really
that
worth
one
it.
match.
Yeah.
Let's jump into it. The heroes we want to see in our Marvel Tokon roster. I have determined the draft order beforehand. This was completely random, so don't at me. Picking first will be Tom, then it will be Lauren, and then it will be me. I will get the corner. I think we just take it away. If we have some potential move ideas when someone says a hero, feel free to jump in, but we really don't need to dwell on each hero for too long because the idea of the hero itself will be pretty like self-explanatory almost when somebody says, "Oh, well, Spider-Man's already in it," but Spider-Man is like, "Oh, that's exciting!" And yeah, if you have anything to say, feel free. Tom Drew, take us away with the number one, the person you most want to be in Marvel Tokon.
Yeah, so I always talk about how I want more X-Men in content. Always, I love my mutants. And I would normally I would go for my boy Cyclops because he's the guy. I love Cyclops a lot. He's also, he is the guy of Marvel versus Capcom. So it'd be cool to see him in a fighting game like this. But I was like, I actually want to pick a different mutant. And this is probably my second favorite mutant, if I'm honest. And it's Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, is such a cool character, and I just love his fighting style normally, just in media. And I think adding him to a game like this would be just kind of perfect. I think like being able to use his teleporting to kind of maneuver yourself around opponents, I think would be really useful. I haven't played a lot of Mortal Kombat, but the one that I did play a decent amount of was Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 10. And Scorpion has like a ability where he like can teleport around and like basically catch your opponent off guard. And it does get kind of annoying if you don't know how to counter it. But I think just that kind of ability of being able to maneuver around your opponent and keep them on edge and in check with someone like Nightcrawler will be really cool. And he's just a fun German guy. I don't know. I like Nightcrawler. I like his vibe. So I think it would be cool to have him in the game.
He's pretty self-explanatory just looking at his power set. Like a teleporting fighting game character is something that I don't think we see very often, and that would be fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like a point of distinction from the other kinds of Marvel characters. And I think, like just in terms of awareness, like he is a little bit of a lesser known because he was only really in X2 for like not very much. And he was in
But boy, was he in it when he was.
yeah. Well, he's about to come back, right? So I think once
Yeah.
the new Avengers hits, like people will be like, "Oh, this guy's kind of cool. Why haven't we seen more of him? Why haven't we seen
And I
more of
think that
him?"
fighting games in general are great, especially fighting games based on franchises are a great way to give some of those maybe not top of the A-list heroes like a time
Mm-hmm.
for people to discover. Like I remember playing Super Smash Brothers Melee and being like, who is this Roy character and Marth from this series Fire Emblem? And then it's like, oh, it hadn't even come to the West yet at that point. They were not in games that you could play in North America yet. I was going, who are these people? And then you discover this whole, like, maybe your new favorite character. So I think that could be really fun to do with some of the Marvel Tokon stuff.
Just jumping off that point, like one of the things I'd love for people to discover about Nightcrawler is that he's just like a swashbuckling kind of guy. Like one of his big things is he has like cutlasses. So incorporating like cutlasses and swordplay into his moveset usually carries 3 because one of his tail can carry a sword. I think that would be really cool. Like just incorporating like those kind of elements to his moveset as well.
Okay, Lauren, your first pick.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way. We all know the character that I want to see the most in everything. It's Captain Marvel, who I just think would also just be like a great addition to like really any of these Marvel games that we've had. But she hasn't been in Marvel Rivals yet. Hasn't been announced for this yet. Was there another Marvel game recently? I don't know. Huge lack of Captain Marvel representation in the games. So yeah, I think just like even the like vibrance of her costume would look really good in this art style. Obviously, like if she can go into the binary form, that would be very cool to see. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there does seem to be, I don't know if this was just for the trailer, but there does seem to be like kind of tag team power up moves that happen.
Yep.
Mhm.
So Miss Marvel's already in the game. Seeing those two pair up would be very, very cool.
Yeah, they're calling them their synergy abilities, where you have like you go into each fight with 4 characters, you all share 1 health bar, and you can tag team between any of them by tagging in and out. Uh,
Right.
and when you're tagging in and out, you can do these synergy abilities with these different characters.
Right. So that'll be very cool to see those two like use that to their advantage. So yeah.
What hairstyle is this Captain Marvel rocking?
Well, I think like the long hair, but then if you can activate some kind of binary ability, it's the mohawk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is Brie Larson ideally in your universe coming into? She's the only character that speaks English, and it's just Brie Larson's voice.
I think she'd be up for it, to be honest. Like she's a
Oh,
gamer.
she
Yeah.
totally would. She's such a
Yeah.
huge gamer. She was at the Battlefield 6 event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She do it. Yeah, I think like it's a shame because I think she was in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but like
She was.
nobody played that game. Well, nobody liked that game. So it's a shame she hasn't really got her proper like time to shine in a fighting game. So I think she has to be here. I think it makes sense for her to be like base roster, honestly. Um, and yeah, I think there's a lot you could do with like the fact that she is like kind of an aerial character, and you can keep people in the air with some of her combos and some stuff like that. So I think it makes sense. I think it's gonna happen.
Okay, we'll go to my first pick. I don't think there's enough villain representation on this initial roster that has been revealed. I'm going to say Venom. A big hulking galoot. He can use the symbiote powers. He is a staple of Marvel fighting games. He's been in, I think, every Marvel versus Capcom. And he looks so cool in a fighting game. He would look amazing in this art style and would get another villain on the board. So I think that he could be a fun kind of grappler, big guy, grab onto people, but then also use those symbiote tendrils to do whatever. Maybe he does weird things with his tongue as well, because known to do that from time to time. But yeah, Venom I think would be really, really cool in this game, and I want to see it.
Yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a lack of like brute representation on the list so far. Like, Hulk's not on there either. So I think having a villain character who represents that is very cool. And you could even see like the catchphrases would be very fun. The design of like the inky blackness would look very cool. So yeah, and particularly with the potential Venom game perhaps coming from Insomniac, like the brand synergy would be on point.
This is a game
Yeah.
being published by PlayStation. One cannot forget.
Mhm.
Yeah. I wonder if they like if because they have kind of anime-ified a lot of these characters, for lack of a better term. Like Iron
Mm.
Man is like a Gundam. I wonder if they did like a Venom character in this game, if they'd veer into like an Agent Venom kind of design, where they kind of mech him up a little bit, where it's like uh the version of, if you don't know who Agent Venom is, it's basically Flash Thompson, the bully in Spider-Man, but as like a soldier, and he has the symbiote, and now that he's kind of like a more armored version of Venom. I wonder if they could go that direction. But regardless, I think Venom just makes sense. You need like a big guy like this, like a Zangief in Street Fighter 6, just a guy that just grabs you and doesn't want to let go. He just loves giving people hugs. But I wonder if they'd like, I don't know, incorporate some references to the movies, like him
Don't
eating.
we don't need him
Okay,
jumping in and
I'll stop
tanking
there
some
then.
crabs. Yeah.
Yeah, he won't eat raw chicken or whatever. Okay, that's fine.
I love the Agent Venom idea. I also wonder, like, do we think that there will be like changeable costumes, like skins in the
Cool.
Oh, for
game?
sure.
Because
Oh, for
like, will
sure.
they could pull so many from Insomniac Spider-Man world.
There will definitely be alternate costumes. My second pick, I think I'm going to do another guy in a black suit. I think I'm going to say Black Panther. I think Black Panther was in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I'm not sure. I think he has a history of fighting games, but Black Panther is a name that means something different than it did a decade ago, even. Like, those movies did a lot. Chadwick Boseman's performance did a lot. So like he, to me, you could put Black Panther on the box and people would buy it. Like I think that this his moveset would be a lot of fun. Lots of getting in close using those claws, but then also being able to use that like Wakandan shock absorption, I guess I would calling it, storing up hits potentially. Yeah, you're losing health, but you could store them up and then use like unleash it on some ultimate ability sort of thing. I think it makes a lot of sense and would be a lot of fun. I think he'd be quite quick, quite get in there, dealing a lot of small bits of chip damage, but he makes a lot of sense. Like where Marvel is now, Black Panther is kind of high up on the list.
Yeah. If he's not here at base roster, I think that's crazy. I mean, like the fact that he is in kind of one of the front and center in Marvel Rivals, I think kind of almost guarantees him to be here. Yeah, he was in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but like similar to Captain Marvel, like no one liked that game. So the fact that like it is basically like a fresh slate for him and for Carol Danvers. So yeah, he just needs to be here. I think there's I won't spoil it now. There might be some more Wakandan representation on some of my picks, but like I think just that kind of world just needs to be here. But yeah, I do like that idea of the kind of damage absorption that they added with the movies and stuff. I think that could be a really cool mechanic. I don't know how wacky and weird they do get with some of these like characters in these like with Marvel vs. Capcom, for example, but I think that could be a unique thing. I could see that being very annoying, like online to play against, but in like a good way. So
I'm sure it would need to be like metered some way. Like he would have to absorb a certain amount of damage to unleash this ability, and you're losing health every time you get hit. So, or maybe it's only blocked attacks.
Yeah,
which are hard to do.
Or just get really good at blocking. Like you just main like
that'd be really cool. A character based around like where his most devastating ability is based on playing defensively, which is very not fighting game.
Yeah. Could see it happen.
That would be fun. It would like add an interesting dynamic into like the gameplay, particularly if you like are on the offensive knowing that you're attacking a Black Panther character. It's like, well, do you just hold off attacking them at all?
I think we got an idea here, guys.
Yeah. Gotta be tactical.
Lauren, your second hero or villain.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to represent the girls today. I was very taken by Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four First Steps, the recent movie, and I think, like, obviously, like if they're going to introduce a Fantastic Four character, they're probably going to introduce them all. But I think if there was one that would be most fun, I think to play would be Sue, because she has like such diverse powers, like being able to like cloak yourself and then like disappear from the battle for a bit. That's really cool. But then also having like a blocking mechanic that is the force field, I think would be really fun to play with, like those two alternating abilities. And also like she like proved herself to be super powerful in that movie. So I think like has kind of been overlooked, I think, in like previous Fantastic Four media, and I think really got like her flowers in this movie. So let's get her in the game.
No shots at Jessica Alba, but it was
it was of the time. Come on,
yeah, it was what it was. Kate Mara, on the other hand, missed opportunity. The
entire movie was. Anyway, we're not talking about the movies.
No, she makes so much sense. She was on my list as well. I think the first thing that I thought of would be like some power that would take some complicated button presses where you wrap someone in one of the force fields and like throw them in the air and drop them. I just think that would be such a cool looking move. Or like throw them up, like being able to like put someone in a force field and throw them up and then like get in under them and hit them. Like I just think that she would have such a unique power set from all others. There are other characters that can do what a Black Panther character can do. There's a lot of other characters that can, even a Captain Marvel, there are some characters that have similar like blasting energy. Sue Storm is very unique in the Marvel universe as far as I know. So I think like that makes her a prime candidate. I'd be interested to see if they do one of these characters. I think they have to do all four.
Yeah,
Like, could they
I think so.
just put it? Could Sue Storm just be on the base roster, or like I don't. I think all 4 of them would be there, and I think all 4 of them will be there. They, to
Yeah.
me, make a lot of sense to launch a game with.
Yeah, if there are 4 characters you can if you can pick as your roster, it just makes sense that you can pick the Fantastic Four, right? Like that just makes sense. Do you guys think do you think Franklin could be integrated into a moveset at all? Do
He's
you
just
think
a
that's a
baby.
possibility? Yeah, just just vaporize your opponent. I don't know.
Her ultimate ability is she just like drops the baby and he touches you and you die.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
get
god.
sucked into a black hole.
Maybe if you have all 4 Fantastic Four characters in the battle together, maybe they can all summon Franklin.
You're sharing the baby.
Yeah, another thing about Sue's powers that could be interesting in this game is like you could probably, I don't know if there are environmental hazards that are in any of the maps, but forcing another character towards one of those, or even just using
Mhm.
force powers to send your opponent towards another ally, like so that they can attack them. Like I think there's many ways that it would be useful. But I also love the idea of having an invisible character, like being able to disappear and like you could still probably take damage, so it's on you to be able to avoid what's going on. But like for you
Yeah.
to be able to disappear and the other players have no idea where you are, that's very cool.
Yeah.
But
And
you
also
also have
you
no idea
don't.
where you are.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a gamble.
Well, I think yeah, but I think you would be able to see yourself on the screen, but you would still be able to take damage if you got in the way of something, right?
But
Yeah.
how would you do that if you're playing on the same screen like so many fighting games are?
Yeah,
Right? For online, that makes sense. But
yeah.
if I'm
Locally,
sitting
good.
next to you playing in a tournament, playing at Evo, I think you would have to just make the character completely invisible, which could be fun. The skill
Could be.
ceiling on that would be
It could be
insane.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
There could be little
Like you're just
tells,
getting
that
comboed by
show you.
someone who can't see their character.
That would actually be kind
Oh
of
my
awesome.
god. I'll let the game developers figure that out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what they do.
that's what they figure out, yeah.
Okay, Tom, you're second and third.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm going back to back. Yeah, I feel like I'm just picking kind of like secondary characters, but I feel like these people deserve some limelight. So going back to my Wakandan tease, I think it would be cool to get some more kind of representation from that world here. So I think Okoye would be actually a really cool character to
Oh,
add into
not
this.
where I thought you were going with when you set that up.
Yeah, I just feel like the Dora Milaje. I think if I'm not mistaken, we are getting a Dora character in the Captain America Black Panther game, the 1943 Rise of
Yeah.
Hydra. So we will get that, which I think is good. But I think for how cool the Dora are in the MCU, I think they deserve to be in other places. I just think like a character with a spear um is just a really cool like idea for a moveset that I haven't really seen that much from what I can tell in like fighting game media. I know like Gambit is a character in one of the Marvel vs. Capcom games, so he has his like staff. But just being able to have like the versatility of like close combat, but also being able to have the ability to like have a lot more long ranged abilities by having like such a long weapon at your disposal, or even be able to like just throw the spear as like a projectile, I think could be kind of interesting. So yeah, I just think Okoye could make for some really flashy moves and just like a really unique kind of character into the roster that I don't think a lot of people would necessarily like expect to be here, but I think definitely deserves to be.
Lots of spinning, which would be cool. Like not just using a sword to like move it around, but like spinning the spear would be really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also obviously like probably Black Panther, like we've said, will be in the base roster, so having them team up would be very cool.
Mm-hmm. I think even like I don't know, this might look stupid, but like it's a fighting game, whatever. You could do the Star Wars Rebel thing with the Inquisitors, where she uses a spear as almost like a helicopter, and like she could like use that to keep herself in the air while also like damaging the other enemies. I don't know. I think that could be kind of cool.
How has that not been integrated into any of the media so far?
Honestly, like, come on, let's do it.
Like it's Wakanda. They can come up with that.
Yeah, we can figure that out. Vibranium's very versatile material.
Yep.
So yeah, I can make it work. But yeah, I guess for my third pick, another kind of secondary character. We already have Star-Lord in the game, so Guardians are on the table. I think it'd be really cool to get Yondu in the game, but have him as like maybe an amalgamation of his like MCU and comic version. In the MCU, he obviously has his kind of little whistling spike thing that he can like whistle around. And I would like to imagine that most of his moveset is just being able to use that, and like he doesn't actually move that much in his animations, but the whistle is going crazy. I think that could be kind of interesting, seeing that work. But then also maybe in the comics he has like more of a bow sort of thing, so maybe you could add that in, maybe as his ultimate or like a different kind of ranged option perhaps. um but I don't know, I think Yondu again similar. I mean, I guess because he, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Guardians 2, but he does die, so he hasn't had a lot of play beyond those two movies, and What If, I guess. So I'd like, I think it'd be cool to see him in another setting like this, and getting another Guardians adjacent character like that. I think it'd be pretty cool with it, like a unique weapon that he does.
I think that's like another great pairing because I don't know how much storytelling they really care about in these fighting games, but obviously Yondu and Star Lord have some history, and it would be interesting to see like how they kind of tell that within the realms of this game, but also could have like complementing move sets, which I think would be cool. But honestly, just having like control of that arrow would be very, very fun in a game like this.
Yeah, a projectile that you can basically map the control potentially with like the stick. Like say you put it out and
Ooh.
Yondu has to stay still, then you can knock like players around. Like I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, it's similar to like Rosalina and Luma in Smash Brothers, where you can like
Sure.
shoot Luma, and then you can kind of have like the stick do its own little thing over there while you're kind of just chilling. I think that'd be kind of interesting, and like kind of keeping the action off of Yondu, and maybe he's a bit more fragile, like a glass cannon kind of character in that way, so it's not too like kind of overpowered. I think it'd
Yeah,
be
like
pretty
maybe
cool.
while the projectile is in motion, he's much more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and also it could be like the Leviathan axe where like you send it out and then it like does damage on the way back when you recall it.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that'd be really fun. It is. You brought up an interesting point, Lauren. Fighting games have done story stuff. I like Tekken that I played last year. The story mode was awesome. I'm I would love a like original Marvel story in here. Like similar to Injustice, like they told like a great comic book story that's just like, hey, here's some great story stuff. Now you gotta do a fight, and now we're gonna go do more story stuff, and you can mix
Mm.
up. I know Tekken did some really cool things in mixing up the actual fighting, where it's like now you are third person, like basically playing a third person action game all of a sudden in the way that they like mix up how you're just doing fighting moves in that. I think that I wouldn't be. There probably will be some single player content in here that is Marvel themed, and that could be really cool. Okay, Lauren, your third and final hero.
I think this one I'm just going to go with because it's kind of different and fun and might not be like on most people's typical lists. But I think it would be cool to have Thanos in the game as a villain. Similar to Venom, like would be like a brute character just in terms of size. But like particularly if you have access to the Infinity Gauntlet, like all the kinds of different moves or powers that could activate would be very, very fun. Like I can picture activating the time stone and everyone like slows down, or yeah, maybe you get like a 1 or 2 second advantage with like time stopping, or like shifting reality to like maybe that involves like being able to like clone yourself or disappear or something like that. Like the possibilities are kind of endless. Like the power stone could give you like a supercharged punch or something like that. So I think like taking advantage of the Infinity Stones with Thanos as a character would be fun, and it's also just like another way to introduce a cool villain. It would be great if they used like the King Thanos design too.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, give him the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool look. Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think it'd be great to have him here. I wonder if you could do like a, yeah, like I like the idea of like him being able to use the Infinity Gauntlet like with the stones and stuff. I wonder if there's a way to do it where it's like there's a mechanic in Smash 4 called Rage, where it's like if you, the more like health you lose, the more power you gain. So I wonder if like there could be a mechanic where like Thanos, like the more damage he has on him, the more powerful he gets. And as his damage kind of goes down, the more infinity like gems he has
Mm.
access to. So and then like once he's like very very low health, then he gets like his full kind of power. And you could maybe snap. Like I guess I mean that would be the ultimate, right? I think that'd be the best
Yeah,
thing.
the snap. Or maybe you do the snap and it like that's like an instant you lose half your health or something like that.
Yeah, so I think a risk
Yeah, like a
reward thing like that.
level 3 sort of ability you would call it in like
Mm.
Street Fighter, where it's like you have 3 levels of meter and you are using it all right now to deal a third or half of someone's health.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to Venom, I think like we need more brutes. Thanos fills that role really well, so I think we need the Mad Titan in here for sure.
Okay, my final pick. I have some that make a lot of sense that would be just like I would be happy to see, but I like how we've kind of gone with like unique characters, stuff we haven't maybe seen a lot of. And so I'm going to say Doctor Strange. I think he could be a lot of fun with the different spells and things like that, and opening portals and using like that chain spell he uses in the movies at one point that I know has a name that someone is yelling at their MP3 player, almost said at their phone. If you're listening on an MP3 player, shout out, let us know. I think that he has access to such unique different abilities that would look super cool, that all make sense through these different spells. I don't think he needs to even walk. He can just like float slightly above the ground. He would work. He could tie people up in the cape. Doctor Strange, fantastic. Put him in.
Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think yeah, I wanted if he was in this game, I'd love him to have like very creative magical abilities. Like instead of just having like the firecracker like kung fu that he has in the first movie, like go a bit crazy with it. Like I always go back to when I think of Doctor Strange that we just mentioned him, the fight between Strange and Thanos in Infinity War, where they're just kind of like doing these crazy different magical abilities. He's turning stuff into butterflies. He's pushing like giant walls at people. So I think like finding just weird like creative spells. Maybe you could even summon like different like monsters around the battlefield, like a little like that green gooey guy from the start of Multiverse of Madness with all the tentacles and stuff. Maybe like a
Oh
little
yeah.
Shumagorath, I think his name is. You can like summon a little
Wow,
Shumagorath.
I can't believe you pulled that, but that's for sure his name.
Yeah, that's it. Look, guys, I'm a nerd, whatever. You know, things like that I think could be really interesting to kind of change up his moveset and keep people on their toes. So yeah, I love a magic user. I think Strange would be really cool.
Yeah, and I think looking at this initial roster, there aren't really many magic wielders at all, or sorcerers. So I think when you're filling out a roster like this, it makes sense to like have that kind of corner covered as well.
I think the
And
closest thing is Storm, probably. Like different,
yeah,
but similar ability
or even
wise.
Ghost Rider being kind of
Yeah,
supernatural. Yeah,
Yeah,
but not
but yeah, but
really.
yeah, and Strange has like his kind of spell ability is a lot more like Storm is weather focused. Ghost
Yeah,
Rider's more like Doctor Strange. You could do anything with his moveset, and it would make sense. I feel like.
with
and
Storm,
just
I meant like
visually,
yeah,
oh,
visually he would look at you. But with Storm, I meant more just like in a fighting game context. These two characters are kind of
Right.
occupying the same space
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
as these kind of like they're not the ones actually in the most for the most part doing the fighting. It is them like casting things out at you.
Yeah.
Projectile characters, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but yeah, just visually, I think the Eldritch magic would look very cool in
Mm-hmm.
this kind of art style that Marvel Tokon's got going on.
I think the portal idea would be super cool. Like he could like drop a portal below him and then like maybe pop out like above the player on the other side of them and like dropping down. Like I think you could do some really fun stuff with that. And I think he'd be here for the most part. All of the like primary Avengers, I bet will be, and I mean like movie Avengers will be in this because it
Yeah.
is ultimately like Marvel Games is making this happen, and Marvel Games is tied to Marvel Studios, so.
Yeah.
Just don't make it like Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, where it was solely based on movie stuff.
I think that's what we're like. It's not going to be like that because we have Ghost Rider, we have like Storm, who isn't like in the mainline MCU yet. So I think they are kind of going into the comics and like choosing the characters that make the most sense for the game. It seems like.
Yeah, I think like we've all, like, looking at the list, we've all picked characters who have been represented in on screen in some way, shape, or form. I wonder if like we want to just throw out, like, is there a character who's only been in the comics who you want to see in the game?
Jeff the
Ooh,
Landshark?
yeah, I actually had him on my list. I mean, he's in Marvel Rivals. He's kind of made his way around. I wonder if is he too small? Like, is his hitbox too
Yeah,
small? Do you
he
think?
might be too tiny.
He might be a little bit annoying.
Could he be like a companion for someone? Like, isn't he with?
So I know,
He's like Kate Bishop or Spider Gwen's pet in the comics.
yeah, he is, yeah. So that could work potentially. I know he also like I think Emma Frost also has like adopts him at 1.2, so I think he could like go with someone and he could chill with them. That would make sense. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I mean, this kind
Nova?
of Nova,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
you
big
have the Nova
one.
call, but yeah, I think that'd be cool. I had Jubilee, but she's technically in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I thought about
think we go.
Magic, but again, she's also like she's in New Mutants, but
Yeah.
she could be really fun.
Yeah, again with the teleporting, I think.
If you
And a big
wanted to
sword.
get weird, Gwenpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've had Deadpool in other Marvel vs. Capcom games, I think.
Yeah.
So having Gwenpool in here would be a kind of a fresh take on that sort of character, I think. Even though Gwenpool is a little bit different than Deadpool, I guess. But
Yeah.
I feel like well, he's about to be in the on screen, but like Wonder Man, seeing like a cool like fighting version of him, like particularly because you've got like Johnny Cage. Wait, is that his name? I'm having a blank. Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat, who's the actor, and apparently the lead of the next movie. Yeah, like having like that kind of like split between like, oh, the Hollywood star, but also like, or an actor, like, but translating that into a fighting hero would be fun.
I know we've seen him on screen before, and we're allegedly supposed to see him on screen again. Blade in this game makes a lot of sense. A sword fighter, like vampire-y stuff. Yeah. He works. He would fit in. I can even see the armor they would put him in this anime-inspired art style. Like, he, to me, screams Marvel Rivals. Or not Marvel Rivals, Marvel Tokon.
Yeah.
We're getting a Blade game, so
yeah,
I'm sure that he's in the conversation.
And Blade just got added to Marvel Rivals, so like I think it's guaranteed that Blade. I think he's probably in the base roster. Honestly, I think it would make so much sense to see him in this game.
You keep saying base roster, and I get excited every time because I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, like this won't just be a stagnant thing. Like they're going to, we're going to get DLC for this. They're going to keep adding characters to this for the next 5 years. We're going to get Marvel Tokon Turbo Edition or whatever in 3 years. And
I think it'll be fun to come back to this list and be like, are all of the characters that we listed in the game
Did we nail
I think
it?
that'd be fun. Yeah. I mean, it might happen.
Any other honorable mentions? The only big ones that I thought about, as you said earlier, Cyclops, Tom. Cyclops and Wolverine were two characters I thought will 100% be in this game.
Yeah.
I also had Scarlet Witch, of course. And I think Daredevil would be fun too.
Daredevil would be really cool. The bully sticks.
Yeah, fun brawler character. Yeah, I had a lot of those characters too. I know we have Spider-Man in this game, but I wonder if Spider-Man 2099 would be a cool way to differentiate
not where I thought we were going, but
yeah,
2099 would be great.
And he fits the kind of that art style. I think a lot. I think you could do a lot of fun things with that costume design. I think it'd be cool. And the other one is She-Hulk. I know we've had Hulk in a lot of these games, but another brawler character like that, similar to Marissa in Street Fighter 6. I think She-Hulk could work.
She-Hulk is in MVC 3, I think. I can picture the costume in my head.
Yeah, bring it back. Just bring it back. Maybe she could have some lawyer abilities like Phoenix Wright does.
Objection.
Yeah, let's do that.
like a Ace Attorney game.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be hilarious. You could do a whole, talking about Spider-Man 2099, you could do a whole just how many Spider-Man we putting in this thing. Miles, Gwen, you could keep Peter Porker,
Spider Noir,
Penny
Penny Parker.
Parker.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's endless.
You could keep going. I wouldn't be surprised if Miles was in this game. I think he has enough of a different, like, it'd be kind of a Ken Ryu situation in Street Fighter. I think him and Spider-Man would be very similar, but would have a few different things. Like, he could incorporate the electricity, of course, into his moveset a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, interesting that we didn't talk about any villains in that honorable mention section.
Yeah.
Well, I also had Loki.
Yeah.
Loki
Loki's
was
a big
cool.
one.
Yeah. I find it hard to think of like good villains that would translate. Other than
I just
like
keep thinking of Spider-Man villains. That's
this
my
is the
issue.
thing. Yeah, I was gonna say like the one kind of unique one I had was the Spot, which is also like a teleporting
Oh,
kind
that's
of guy.
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, a Spider-Man villain, so it's kind
Like
of tough.
a Scorpion would be cool with the tail, Green Goblin, and these are all characters. Like, I don't think Green Goblin has been in a Marvel fighting game yet, which seems crazy to me. Like, that's one
He's
of
the guy.
the most popular Marvel villains, if not the most popular Marvel villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably him or Venom. Yeah.
Taskmaster would be fun.
Taskmaster would be really fun.
Yeah, they could reference a lot of different characters with copying a lot of abilities.
Just being able to copy someone else's moves is like a kind of cool thing to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. You'd be like Kirby in Smash, just like absorb someone's moves. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be really cool. Take on a mimic. Be like,
Exactly.
oh, I have this person. I have Cap's shield for this match, or what have you. Yeah. Well, it's coming. We'll see more fighters, I'm sure, very soon. Could even see one or two unveiled at Gamescom. I bet you that is right at the level of announcement I think we were going to get at Gamescom opening night here in a couple of weeks. But Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, it's playable. People have seen it. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2026 game at this point. I thought it maybe was a little further out, but the fact that people are playing it or have played it is kind of a bit of a shock to me. So could be out next year. Very excited for that. Now let's get into what we've been playing before we get out of here. Tom, Deltarune. What's you just looking for a reason to play your Switch 2? Is that it?
Pretty much. I mean, so basically, yeah, I've had a friend over, very good friend of mine, Brendan, who has been going on to me about playing Deltarune for like years at this point. If you don't know what Deltarune is, it's basically kind of a spiritual successive spin-off to Undertale. I love Undertale. I think Undertale is one of the, like my favorite games ever. And I've never played Deltarune. Like after all this time, it's kind of been released in this kind of in chunks, so different chapters over the years. So I was originally going to wait until all the chapters are out and then play it, but after going to the Undertale concert early in the year and then Brendan coming over, but you got to play this game, I was like, fine, I guess I'll give it a go. So I've played through chapter 1 and it is really good. Like it's a lot of fun. Obviously there are a lot of kind of, with it being kind of connected to Undertale, there are a lot of references to it. But it does feel like very much its own thing. Where the battle system now, before it was like you were fighting enemies, and you're kind of doing this like bullet hell kind of mechanics where you're dodging attacks as a still heart. And now it's kind of different where you have a party instead. So you have 3 different characters you control the actions of. And they do really interesting things where, if you're not familiar with Undertale or Deltarune, you can either fight enemies or you can act and you can try to take them down non-lethally. And there's sometimes characters in your party that don't want to do that. They want to kill the enemy, and you have to find ways to make sure they don't do that if you want to take down things non-lethally. So there's things like that where they introduce like new mechanics that keep the gameplay fresh and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play through all the chapters. It's got its hooks in me. I think the gameplay is super fun. The art style, pixel art, look beautiful. The music's amazing. I'm just so glad I have like basically more Undertale content in my life now. So yeah, I'll keep playing that and check back in a few weeks. I'm sure I've finished it by then.
Excellent. And Lauren, your potential game of the year. It's here. It's finally out. Tiny Bookshop.
Yes. Was counting down the days until it came out, I think on Thursday. I had like, even in my calendar, I was like, tonight, just staying home and playing Tiny Bookshop. But what was great news is like I woke up that day and they had like shadow dropped it on Switch, where it was previously only going to be on Steam. So I was like, this is even better because this is a perfect Switch game. So that's been great because I was willing to just like play it on my laptop, but I prefer it now that I can have it on the Switch. And yeah, it's delightful. Like I've finally gotten past where the demo stopped, which didn't take very long. It's like not a very long game. And it's very, very addictive, like because yeah, it's just like this cycle of quite short days where you get to have people come into your shop in certain different locations. You're going to have to take different books to those places, or you might get more people at this spot than you will at others, and you have tasks to complete at each of them. And it's just like, oh, I'll just it's hard to put down because like I'll just play one more day. They're so quick. Oh no, I'll just play another more day. Or like I really want to get to this this day in the week, and yeah, so it's very addictive and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm finding it a little trickier than I did in the demo. I don't know if they like went easy on me and on people in the demo, but like, yeah, I'm sometimes not giving out the right recommendations. So it does make you think. I know, shocked that I wouldn't know every book to recommend someone. But yeah, that's where I think it would be nice to have a hint function. I think more games need hints because we're not all smart, So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's very cozy, exactly what I need right now, and definitely recommend checking it out.
That's awesome. It sounds like a perfect Switch game. Perfect Switch game. Just sit on the couch, on a plane, anywhere.
Yeah.
Relax with them, selling some books. That sounds great. I've been playing two things. They're two new things, so I'll try and be quick with both of them. We talked about it last week with the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. This new game from Square Enix, Adventures of Elliot. It is a HD 2D art style game. It is the first HD 2D game that isn't a traditional turn-based RPG. It is an action RPG, very similar to Zelda. And there's a demo you can play right now on Switch 2. I've played the demo, and I think that I don't think I will pick this up when it comes up. If there is a discount, for sure. I think it is so close to Zelda without quite getting there. Without, it doesn't have the character for me and that does a lot for like in Zelda's favor in my mind. And even just like you in this demo, you play through kind of the tutorial and then the opening dungeon. Even the dungeon and like the boss design felt just like a tier down from Zelda for me. And so it was fun. It was cute. It does this really unique thing that I don't think I've ever seen before in a game like this, where you're getting a lot of like materials and loot and upgrade materials and things like that. And if you get a combo of killing enemies without taking damage after 5, a little signifier at the top shows up and it's all golden, and it means that like better loot is more likely to drop. So the more enemies you kill successively without taking any damage, the better loot will start falling. I think that is like a really interesting and cool design element that I haven't seen before. It also does something that felt kind of Nintendo, like bordering on a Nintendo game mechanic, where you have a fairy companion in this game, and it is very similar to Navi in the Zelda franchise. And you can control it with with the other, I guess it'd be the right analog stick on the Switch 2, which can be quite hard when you're using the left analog stick to control your character. You can control this fairy to go and hit enemies and like deal damage as well as you dealing damage. But because that damage side of things, controlling this fairy and swinging a sword, is on the same Joy-Con, it kind of feels like rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. It just like, it feels very hard to want to do one while also doing the other, or trying to do both feels near impossible. So I think it's cute. I think the HD 2D art style is insane. It's just, I need more of that, and so that's why I want to give this a try. But it's maybe not for me. The other thing I've been playing is the Battlefield 6 beta. It is happening right now. It's happening as we were recording. It will be happening again next weekend. Everyone says, or has been saying, Battlefield is back. I have always really liked Battlefield. I reviewed Battlefield 2042 back when it came out and was kind of like, I see the potential here. I like some of the ideas, but it felt like a bit of a step down. I don't know if I'm quite as high on Battlefield 6 as everyone else is, and I think that is because I have played so much Battlefield over the years that for some people who maybe played Battlefield 3, went away, and haven't touched the game since and are now coming back, they're like, oh my gosh, like this feels like, or maybe they touched 2042 after playing 3 and this really feels like a return to form to them. For me, it kind of just feels like Battlefield, which is fun, and it creates these amazing moments. And I will prefer this over Call of Duty 7 days a week, and I do think that it is quite good at what it does. I just don't necessarily see the like groundbreaking innovation that everyone's like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be game of the year. It is a very, very good, fun Battlefield experience. I think the destructibility in the environments is quite simply bonkers. Like you will be in a house and then the house you're in is now a pile of rubble and you have been buried underneath of it, which is like so much fun. The battlefield feels like it's always constantly changing. But I'm not quite as like beaming about it as I thought it would be, coming off of what people played at the preview event and kind of where everyone's sitting jumping into the beta for the first time. It's the most played beta in the history of Steam. It beat Call of Duty's peak on Steam the other day. Like I think it was like 476,000 people were playing all at once on Steam, which is kind of bonkers. Yeah. When I queued up yesterday to play on PS5, I had a 21,000 person queue in front of me to log on.
Oh my god.
And I thought, oh, I'm going to go do something else. And then I sat there for about 3 minutes and that 21,000 number went down to 1,000. And then about 30 seconds later, I was in. So it didn't take quite long, but I don't know if they were actively adding servers or who knows what was going on.
But that's their big selling point, isn't it? That they can have like over 100 players in a game.
Oh yeah, I think it's 64 on 64.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it is mayhem. It is Battlefield. I will prefer this to like the Call of Duty thing simply because of the roles it gives you. Like for me, I am not the sniper. I am not the person, even the assault class. Like I'm not the person who is going to be out there dealing damage, but I can feel like I'm doing something in the game playing. I always play medic where I'm resupplying my teammates, and you don't just immediately die in this game. You go down and then someone can revive you. And that's the medic's job. They have defibrillators that are instant revives, or you can do this like new grab and drag and you're reviving them as you're dragging them. And there's been so many great moments I've seen on Twitter. I had one last night where I'm like, this guy in front of me died. I don't see any enemies. I can hear a tank somewhere. Like I have no idea where. I go out, I grab him, I'm pulling back. The tank sees me pop out, rips around the corner, and is like coming up at us up this alleyway. As I'm pulling this guy, he revives. We both turn around and we just like dip into a building as this tank like rolls by. It felt like straight out of a movie. And like that's a lot of fun, and I would love to play and feel more of that. I think once my group of friends who I have played Battlefield with for a long time get their hands on this game. I was just playing solo. I was queuing. It was late last night and it was fun, but I like having that squad element in it because you automatically get put into squads in this game and you're kind of incentivized to like stay with your unit and stay as a group and go and accomplish tasks as a group. So being able to actually communicate with them or want to communicate with them, like there were people talking on mic yesterday and I'm like instant mute. I don't need you yelling at me. But I am liking it. I'm just not like, I've seen some people saying, man, it's going to be wild when this gets a Game of the Year nomination. And I'm not seeing that yet.
But a lot of people were quite low on, I think, was it 2042 or
Yes.
Battlefield 5? Was one of those?
Yeah, the last two, 2042 and 5 were both. I think 2042 had some fun ideas, but it just didn't quite. It felt like a bit of a mess. And 5 had a lot of like technical hiccups.
Yeah, right. So I guess like the bar was already kind of low. So like you say, going back to the way they were is kind of like it does seem like a big jump. But I don't know. I'm excited. I need to see a little bit more But I
You were
love
excited enough
Battlefield.
to pick it up in the Fantasy Critic League. I saw that.
Okay. Yeah. Tactical play. Yeah, well, we're reaching the end of the year. Got to fill those
I
slots.
know. But yeah, that's what we've been playing. Let's jump into comment corner and let's get out of here. Tom, do we have a comment here for this week?
We do indeed. We have a comment on one of our older kind of like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, which was just basically talking about. I mean, it's very apt to one of our news topics this week about console prices. I think we talked about like the PlayStation 6 and what we thought that was going to cost. And this comment comes from at Vegeta Atijev. Try me and hear what they think they're willing to pay for a PlayStation 6. They say, I will pay $1,500 if a PS6 is backwards compatible with the PS3, PS4, and PS5. Which is, I mean, damn, that's pretty big words. I don't want the PS6 to be that much.
My first car was $1,500. Just to like put that into context.
That's wild. But I mean, like, maybe to this person, like, if that's worth it to you, that's great. I mean, the fact that like PS3 games still aren't
PS3
backwards
would be
compatible,
huge.
that would be
that's
pretty
the
huge.
big one. That's the white whale that they can't seem to crack. I could see the value in definitely the value in adding that. Like it's like with the Switch 2 adding the Nintendo GameCube games, was it?
Yeah.
Whatever you were excited about, Glenn.
Whatever you were excited. That Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some games. But yeah, I think
all of us were
definitely
playing Sly Raccoon at 7 years old, Lauren.
That's a PS3 game and I want
it.
So come on. Yeah, so I think that would be like definitely if they can just finally figure that out, that would like be a reasonable way to bump the price. And it's definitely something I think that they need to figure out. But also I think any console now not offering backwards compatibility with like the recent generations is like you can't do that these days. Like people will not stand for that, basically.
Yeah. When you have Nintendo doing it, you have to, everyone else. Like Nintendo is the last one. I would not have been surprised if they were like, Switch 2, it's all new. Here you go. But they didn't. So now the walls are down. You have to keep doing this, especially with digital libraries. The fact that I have hundreds of games hidden away in my PlayStation library, that's why I will continue to buy a PlayStation over and over and over again, because I have all these games that I've already bought that I can just pick up and play at any time.
Yeah, it's kind of like people saying with streaming services now, like they will remove series and stuff without warning, and then there's like literally no way to ever watch it, and that's why people are like physical media, like it's still worth investing in. So yeah, I think the same thing is with games that you suddenly like obviously like you can keep the older console to play it on, but if they're going to stop supporting those consoles, it gets really difficult to like maintain like the history of those games.
It does seem crazy that like Xbox at this point is almost 100% backwards compatible with every Xbox. To the point where I'm pretty sure you can put an original Xbox game in a Series X and it will play somehow. Like it will download the game from the store, I think.
I'm pretty sure that is correct, yeah. So, I mean, like, for all their faults, like, Xbox is doing backwards compatibility the best. Like, that is insane that they can
If I could put Skate 3 for my PS3 sitting in the closet behind me into my PS5, that'd be insane. That'd be awesome. Okay, well, thank you for the comment, Vegeta. That's shout out. Next week, our comment corner question of the week will be, what Marvel character do you most want to see in Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls? You can let us know your thoughts about our suggestions, and you can share your own here on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere the podcast is posted. You can also check in on our New Game Plus video game check-in, our video game book club game of the month, which for the month of August is Portal. It's about 3 hours long. You can play it on Switch 1, play it on PC, play it just about everywhere. I think you can play it on PS3 if you really wanted to, Vegeta. That's specifically to you. We're playing it. We will have a conversation about it in the coming weeks. it's going to basically wrap up the show. You can follow the show as always at Controller Club Pod on Instagram and Blue Sky, at Controller_Club on Twitter, and at Controller.club on TikTok. Also, if you are listening to the show, we post a video version each and every week over on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, thumbs up, leave a comment. It really helps out. And rate and review us on podcast services wherever you are listening. 5 stars. It really helps out. Tom, where can people keep up with you, and what do you have going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Tom Drouart, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. Haven't really posted anything in the past week or so. I was mentioning to Klein Lauren off air, I went to the Tower of London. I don't know if I'll post about that. Maybe I will if there's a demand for it. But if you want to see potentially that, yeah, Tom Drouart is where you find it.
Where's the Tower of London Tom Drew fan art? That's what I want.
I mean, it could be possible if like I said, if the fans want it, I'll do it. We saw what happened with that game that we talked about in the live stream. I ended up playing it, so it'll happen.
Infinity Nikki. Shout out.
Tom is a man
Lauren.
of the people.
Exactly.
Or a shill. Lauren Rouse, where can people keep up with you? What do you have going on?
You can follow me at lrouse19 on the socials, mostly Blue Sky and TikTok, although I haven't posted on either recently. However, I am preparing to try and post some stuff about being at Comic-Con, which was like 2 weeks ago now, which is crazy. Was it 2 weeks ago? Really? Anyway, I'm still recovering. But yeah, I'm hoping to post some stuff from that soon.
Excellent. You can keep up with me everywhere. I am at the Kleinfeld, TheKleinfelt. This has been a podcast that wraps up another episode of Controller Club. Thank you so much for listening. Now, let's get gaming.